Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, I wanted to talk about this one fight because it was just an absolute banger. It was a classic. It was a barn burner. I mean, any positive adjective I can use to describe this fight right here, just insert it here because it was a great fight. And the fight I'm talking about, as you guys can see by the title, is Llangu Makabu versus Aleksei Papin. This was, in fact, a WBC title eliminator. A winner of this fight would have secured a WBC world title shot in the cruiserweight division, which right now that title is held by Marius Briedis, and he'll be taking on the KO Dr. Junio Ticos in the final of the World Boxing Super Series. So, first of all, this fight was really interesting because Aleksei Papin was when coming into the fight, highly touted prospect. A guy that made his name as a kickboxer, was an absolutely stellar kickboxer, kickboxing world champion, and he had made that switch to boxing. Had went 11-0, and this was like one of his first true step up fights, and he was having it against a very dangerous fighter, Llangu Makabu. Makabu was a bit on a man on a mission. Ever since a couple of years ago when Makabu had that fight with Tony Bellew at Goodison Park, shout out to Everton Football Club. Ever since he had that exciting world title fight with Tony Bellew at Goodison Park, he has been just on a warpath, beating the living hell out of people in his own country and in the Congo and all around Africa. Then earlier this year, he stepped up and fought Dmitry Kudryashov, who we know is a dangerous puncher. Beat the hell out of him, stopped him in like 6 rounds. Then he fights Aleksei Papin on the road in Russia with the whole hometown crowd behind him, and it was a really good fight. It was a fight where you saw Papin using his range, using his height, using his jab, and you saw Makabu just trying to cut the distance, close the gap, land the left hand as much as possible, go to the body when he cuts that gap, and just throw punches with bad intentions. And that's what I like about Makabu. Makabu is probably one of my favorite fighters out right now. Because when he fights, it's always going to be fireworks. He kind of reminds me of like Adonis Stevenson in a bit, because he's not a fighter. I mean, he has a good jab, but everything he does with his cause he's southpaw, so everything he does with his right hand is to set up his left. And in that sense, he's kind of like Adonis Stevenson. And I liked watching Adonis Stevenson fight when he was younger, because you knew when Adonis Stevenson fought that there was going to be fireworks and that he wanted all the smoke. He wanted to really hurt, hit, and just overall punish his opponents. And that's what Makabu was doing this fight. Papin early on, he did a good job of moving really well, circling to his left. Sometimes he would push Makabu back and just land some really good punches to the body of Makabu. But Makabu, as the fight went on, he made some investments early on to go into the body. He proved himself, as always, to be a dangerous threat via counter-punching opportunities, and that served him well going into later rounds, because even though, rounds 10 and 11, Makabu was losing. Makabu was getting outboxed. He was getting outlanded, and it was a razor close fight. It was one of those fights where on the road, if you're the road fighter, you needed a knockdown. So Makabu didn't get it in the 10th. He didn't get it in the 11th. And I think if Papin would have gone the full 12 without getting knocked down, he probably would have got the nod in a majority decision or just a unanimous decision. But Makabu dug deep. Makabu was able to land some very good punches to the body. And then in the last round, the final round, the round where it mattered the most, the 12th round, he scored a knockdown, and that was ultimately the difference in the fight, as the final scores were one judge scored a draw, and the other 2 judges had it 115 to 113 in favor of Makabu. So Makabu beats and takes the O of a good, young, promising prospect in Aleksei Papin. I don't think Papin really has anything to be ashamed of, because Papin, in this fight, Papin really, for a guy that came from kickboxing, who doesn't have a lot of kickboxing experience, to fight a guy like Makabu, who is challenged for the world title, who is one of the most dangerous punchers in the division. I would even argue at some when he lands a left hand, pound for pound, Makabu is probably one of the hardest punchers in boxing, and I don't think a lot of people don't know about him. So, he's going to get overlooked or because nobody's heard of him. But, I mean, this is a guy that stops the boss Mchunu. He was the only man besides, I think, Bernard Hopkins to stop Glenn Johnson. He knocked down Tony Bellew, which is something that David Haye didn't do in this. David Haye didn't even knock down Bellew when he fought at cruiserweight. And up until Usyk, Bellew had never been knocked down at cruiserweight. Destroys Dmitry Kudryashov. And then takes the over Aleksei Papin. So he's proven himself to be a good fighter, and I feel like he'll match up well with any fighter in the division. As far as Orticos and Briedis, those are two guys that like to exchange, and Makabu is very much a brawler, a toe-to-toe fighter, a guy that, he does have craft. I think, during the telecast of this fight, like I was watching it on ESPN Plus because this was on the undercard of Kovalev versus Anthony Yarde, and he doesn't get the credit he deserves. He does have boxing craft. He does know how to use his jab. He uses it well. But it's not his bread and butter. It's not what he's trying to hit you with first. He's trying to set up the left hand. So he's going to use that right. He's going to use his jab, that front hand, as a rangefinder. He'll use it to flick and throw off of it. But he's not going to use that to win fights. He's going to try to put you out. He's going to try to put your lights out every time he comes to fight. With that left hand, going to the body, cutting distance, closing the gap. And I feel like if you were to fight a guy like, let's say, Marius Briedis is someone that likes to exchange, and I feel like that'd be fireworks. And honestly, I'm going to say it like this, man. Llangu Makabu is one of the most dangerous men in the cruiserweight division. He's very dangerous for anybody out there. I feel like if you're going to beat Makabu, you're either going to have to land something really nasty and vicious on him early on to stop him like Bellew did. Like Tony Bellew stopped him in the third round. But I'll tell you this. If Bellew didn't stop Makabu in the third round of their fight at Goodison Park, I think Makabu would have had a great chance to probably get him back with the next couple rounds. But Bellew showed the ability to finish, and that's why I classed Bellew so highly as a cruiserweight, because I understood how good the Makabu win was. And I feel like now, with Makabu, kind of getting to that upper echelon of the cruiserweight division, becoming that top contender, he's showing himself to be one of the most dangerous men in the division. He's showing himself to be a man of skill, a man of punching power, a man of just skill, a good fighter, and an incredible fighter, and someone that, I know right now in the Super Series, Briedis and Orticos are going to fight, and then I think Glowacki might be getting a rematch because it was so controversial to fight with him and Briedis. He might be going that route, so Makabu might have to do some waiting to get his title shot, but Makabu is not to be played with. He's someone that if you don't know who he is, if you don't follow the cruiserweights, if you are following the cruiserweights, you need to find out, you need to do your homework, because this man is one of the most dangerous punchers in the division. Pound for pound, he's one of the most dangerous punchers in boxing. And I feel like whether it's against Orticos or against Briedis, he matches up well. I think he matches up well a bit more with Briedis because Orticos is longer and rangier, and has learned and is slowly beginning to perfect setting up the right hand off the jab, and when he's setting up that right hand off the jab, we saw in the Tabiti fight just how dangerous Orticos can be when he's doing that. So Makabu, I think, matches up better with Briedis, but nonetheless, he's a tough fight. He's a tough out for anybody in the cruiserweight division, and I'm just happy that he got the nod in the Papin fight. I would have been devastated if he would have actually got robbed in that fight, because he deserved to win. The knockdown was the difference. And after Papin, Papin, I feel like will be around. He has to go back to the drawing board and just fine tune a couple of things. He's a good fighter. I feel like he'll definitely be a contender, a top contender in the coming years. But just overall, great fight. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Llangu Makabu versus Aleksei Papin. It was a co-main event on the Kovalev Yarde undercard. I had a chance to watch it. Yeah, man, Llangu Makabu, man, one of the most dangerous men in the cruiserweight division. If you don't know who he is, I would highly advise you to go watch his fight to Tony Bellew or Dmitry Kudryashov or Aleksei Papin, and you'll find out everything you need to know about Makabu. Excellent fighter, and he's definitely doing the Congo very, very proud, just boxing his ass off. So, yeah, big shout out to Llangu Makabu. Congrats on the great win. And, yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about Makabu in this fight with Aleksei Papin. Who do you want to see Makabu fight, and vice versa? Who do you think he'd beat or whatnot? Just let me know everything related to Makabu and the cruiserweight division. Leave it down below in the comments. Take the time to subscribe, like I say in every single one of these videos. You can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.